Hey, good morning, everyone. It is 7 a.m. Hey, hello. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. It is 7 a.m. It is Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. Um, so I had a good day yesterday. I was really tired yesterday. Had a film shoot over the weekend that I'm still not wrapped up on fully yet, but it was long days, like two really back to back long days. And one of the things that was interesting to me that happened to me was I went to New York, and I hadn't been to New York consistently in a while, obviously for obvious reasons. And there are a lot of freaking stairs in New York to get like the subway, the PATH train. I went, I'm in New Jersey. I went from the PATH train to get off the PATH train at World Trade Center, to get onto the train, then to get onto. I mean, it was just stair after stairs after stairs, flights after flights, and I was exhausted, and I was like, "Holy cow! I better get myself back in shape because this was really sad." I used to do this consistently without any issues whatsoever, and I had a tremendous amount of fatigue. And then I went out to lunch with the director of the thing, of the film, and we're walking, and I had to walk, and we had to walk like 2 blocks somewhere, and I'm walking, and I'm like out of breath. So obviously there's some work to be done. I need to go back to do some exercises and to work out again to get my stamina back again, because it was really rough and pretty scary. Not really scary. I'm just being a little dramatic there for your morning. How's everybody doing out there? Hope you're all well. Um, so today we're gonna dive into the subject. I've spoken about this subject before, and I've actually for years I've been discussing this just because of some of the experiences that I've had witnessing it, and that is the truth about drugs. Um, there are these little booklets that I have here, the truth about drugs, and it's from drugfreeworld.org. And you can get these booklets free of charge if you just send me an email at John Henry Soto at protonmail.com. That's John Henry Soto at protonmail.com. um, and just write in the title, The Truth About Drugs booklet, and I will send that out to you free of charge. It's actually got tremendous amount of information in it, and it goes into not just some of the why do people take drugs. But it has also all the individual drugs and their side effects, how they're prepared, some of them, crystal meth, and even the more common ones, obviously, that I think we're going to talk about a little bit more today, which is, of course, marijuana. Marijuana, marijuana. Some called weed, herb, bunch of other names, and of course, alcohol. Right, alcohol, the most popular drug. Um, so, I want to talk a little bit about casual users. There's this strange thing that I been running into in the last, I would say, I don't know, 10 years, where maybe even longer than that, where it was just sort of like a normal thing that's what you did. You kind of just, okay, you drink. People, you go to a party and people ask if you want to drink. You go to a bar, obviously, or you go to a club or something, and you get yourself a drink. That makes sense. I mean, they have a huge bar there, but I remember being in a studio, uh, recording studio years and years ago, and I was just doing a session for somebody, and I sat down on the couch there, and the singer, this beautiful singer, sits down next to me, and she's giving me some nice words of compliment. She's heard some of my playing, and she's like, "Oh my God, it was so great. Really looking forward to." And she's like, "Really looking forward to working with you." She goes, "Now, first thing, do you smoke weed?" That's the first thing she says to me. Not the first thing, but that was one of the she made it a very important subject. She's like, "Now, first things first, do you smoke weed?" And I kind of laughed, and I was like, "No, actually, I don't. I never have actually." And she was like, "Oh, okay." She was like, "Okay, yeah, no, I'm just asking, you know." And I was like, "Yeah, no." And I basically just said, I'm just focused on the music and stuff. And she was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no, we do too. We just, we just like to have a little fun and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, all right, no, no worries. I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to play." And since that, not just since that moment, but looking back at all these different moments, I realized that it's become this thing where it's become more and more casual, just a more normal way of life, and people don't realize the damage they're doing because they think that they're just really having fun. um they're really just drowning something in them. They're trying to suppress some pain or some something in them that they're trying to hide behind or whatever. But the question that I had today was, can someone be a casual drug user? you know and there is no real right answer to that, without being sounding judgmental in some sort. I mean, in my personal opinion, I don't think you can be, but others will say like, yes, you can. They'll argue with me. They'll be like, yes, you can. My cousin, he was, he did drugs most of his life, and he always had a job. He always worked. He always did everything. He's dead now, but still. um, and see, the main issue that I wanted to talk about was, if being a casual drug user was something that can be accomplished, the quality of life that you're leading, living during that time, is really the lowest that you can go. Um, you really are not putting into your body the possibilities of greatness, the possibilities to excel mentally, to excel spiritually, physically, obviously. um, and it's a very gradual decline for certain people. For others, it's a fast decline. They're just like, and they as soon as they take the drug, they crash again. They need more of it, that gets out of control, and they're usually dead or they're drug addicts in the street, right? For others, it's very gradual. They get that high, and oh, I like that. Okay, I want to get another high. Oh, I like that. Okay, yeah, no, this is good. I could keep doing this. This is fine. I'm not gonna go over this. I'm not gonna go crazy, you know. But now, even this consistent loop that you're on. I'm high. No, I'm not. I gotta get high. I'm high. No, I'm not. I gotta get high. I'm high. No, I'm not. I gotta get high. That loop that you're around, that's death. You're in a circle of death. You're not able to think for yourself anymore because you're into this loop that you have. And maybe it's just casual. Maybe you don't do it every week, or I don't know, some people that smoke weed every single day, you know, quite happily and proudly, Now, there are certain things that people don't really understand. First of all, people say, oh, in the 60s, that was like a big thing, and all these great musicians created all this great music when they were high. Well, if you're comparing the marijuana of the 60s to the marijuana of today, which is completely different, um, then you haven't studied enough, and you're not really interested, right? Um, so I'm just going to read a little bit, few things here. The short-term effects of just marijuana, right? And these are some stuff that you probably have heard of before. It's You've heard these things, but this is the short term effect of marijuana. Short term effects: loss of coordination and distortions in the sense of time, vision, and hearing. That's interesting. Oh, hearing, sleeping, reddening of the eyes, increased appetite, and relaxed muscles. Now people will be like, "Hey, that's all right. I need to eat," and it just relaxes me. Relax muscles. Heart rate can speed up. So think about that. Your body got relaxed, but your heart rate can speed up. In fact, in the first hour of smoking marijuana, a user's risk of a heart attack could increase fivefold. School performance is reduced through impaired memory and lessened ability to solve problems. Those are short term effects. Long term effects: long term use can cause psychotic symptoms. It can also damage the lungs and the heart, worsen the symptoms of bronchitis, and cause coughing and wheezing. It may reduce the body's ability to fight lung infections and illness. Now, you have those long term effects, right? But compiled with the short term effects, that doesn't mean that the short term effects aren't in place. So we're looking at all these things, everything that I talked about lumps together, right? It's the short term effects is like what's happening in the first years, 2 years, 3 years. Long term effects is like 10 years and beyond, right? Or maybe 8 years and beyond of consistent use, right? But you're still having the short term effects, which are getting worse and worse, right? So you're talking about the coordination and distortions of the senses of time, vision, hearing, right? Relaxed muscles, your heart rate constantly being pumped and made to go faster. The first, what was it said? The first hour of smoking marijuana, users' risk of heart attack could increase fivefold. So you're constantly putting your heart into and pushing your heart faster and faster. Excuse me. So there you have the short term and long term effects, right? Um, and they do say, the user might turn to some stronger when marijuana no longer works, and that's basically what happens with a lot of these drugs, right? It gets you to a point where you're feeling good, but then you're like, man, you know what? This ain't doing anything for me anymore. I need to, and that's because your body has adjusted to it, and you need to find something a little stronger, and that's where you get obviously much stronger drugs like let's see what we got here. We got ecstasy, which is a really really bad drug. I mean, these are all bad drugs, right? um but I mean, alcohol, obviously, in moderation. I drink wine, every once in a while. I haven't had any wine this year, but um I'll have wine this year. I'll have a glass of wine. I'll even have a shot of whiskey if I'm feeling adventurous. But the long term effects of alcohol on the body is really damaging as well. And this is probably the more, this is not probably, this is the more common. I know some people that cannot go out unless they're going out to drink. They can't go to a party. They can't hang out. They can't think of a vacation time that they're having where they're going to go to drink. Everything is about drink. Everything is about getting getting that false high, that false sense of confidence, um, which is really sad. And I know them. I've seen them. Now, how do you address somebody like that, right? Do you say that, "Oh, excuse me, listen, I just want to talk to you a little bit about the truth about drugs. What you're doing now is actually quite damaging to your future and to those around you. Can we sit down and just discuss it for a moment?" Uh, you know, yeah, you can do that. You know, and you're probably gonna lose a friend, but that's okay. At least you gave an effort. You can get a bunch of these booklets. I could send you one. You can go to visit this site. They could send you a bunch of them. They're very inexpensive. They're sort of like newspaperish type feeling. There are others as well that you can get. You can learn more about it at right there at drugfreeworld.org. And you can do it. I think, and I've never done it, but I really should. You can do a course to learn more about the drugs and and the effects and how you can actually help somebody, like the actual uh, technique of disseminating this to someone that you feel needs it, or just in general, just for education purposes for kids. Once you get the training, then you can go and call a school up and say, "Hey, I do a drug talk about the truth about drugs. I was wondering if I can come in and do a presentation for the kids," and they might allow you to come in and do your presentation to the children and let them know the damage that they might be doing if they decide to go this that route. So some of the drugs that are in this booklet are ecstasy, marijuana, alcohol, ecstasy, cocaine, and crack cocaine, crystal meth, inhalants, heroin, LSD, and prescription drug abuse. Yes, prescription drug abuse. I mean, how many of our I can name a bunch of them, right, that were killed by prescription drugs, right? Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, Prince. I mean, are those legends? I mean, I named four of the biggest legends of all time, all gone due to being on these prescription drugs. Now, obviously, and we talked about this yesterday, responsibility always comes into the individual, right? So all those people that have gone due to drugs, it was their responsibility. They made a decision at some point that they were going to do a drug. Because think about it for a second, right? There has to be a moment where you've never done a drug, where you decide to take that drug for the very first time. I've always been fascinated about this one particular moment. Because think about it, you should be aware, or at least have some type of inclination of what the drug can do to you physically, right? What are the damages a drug can do, or at least have some idea that the drug is probably not a good idea, right? I don't think anybody can be that naive these days to think that smoking something that comes into a glass pipe or whatever. I mean, think about the first time somebody smoked crack. Maybe they were doing some other drug, which was smoking weed, where you roll it up in a cigarette and you light it with your friends and you pass it around. You can't pass it around anymore, right? Um, but think about that for a second. And now here you are with a glass pipe and a rock of some sort, burning it up, and you know, you can see pictures here of people doing it, and just think about that first moment. What is going. Here's the young lady who's got the lighter, and she's I think right there. I think that looks like a needle. I don't know if it's that gets injected, but I don't know if cocaine and crack. Maybe that's just a generic photo they used, but there is a match there. There's something being lit, and that's how they do it. That's how they do it. And I remember uh, seeing these things. Sometimes you'll see one on the floor, a little long pipe thing, glass pipe thing, and you'll see one on the floor, kind of blackish, like it was burnt. And one of the things that I've always been fascinated about, and this is why it's important to do these presentations for kids, to give them the knowledge, give them the ability to make good judgments based on information that they can have for themselves, that they can be taught. At some point they have to make a decision, right? They're gonna, and everyone is responsible for those decisions no matter what, which is unfortunate, right? Because some of the decisions are pretty bad, but they are responsible, and all we could do is educate them. And I think educating them is really an extremely important part. So I would get these booklets and learn as much as you possibly can about these drugs, and then set up a time. I'm working on that right now, because of the pandemic it's been a little bit difficult, but I thought I would use this format to talk about this, and to let people know that this is available. I will send this to you free of charge. All you have to do is just send me an email again at johnhenrysoto@protonmail.com, with the title "The Truth About Drugs." I will send you a free copy of this. And or you can just visit drugfreeworld.org, and they can give you a lot more information there than this booklet. Um, and you can talk to somebody and let them know that you're interested in getting trained on how to help other people. And you can do these presentations like anywhere, doesn't have to be schools either. You can get a place in the library and just promote it and have people come to a library and do it at a library. If two people show up, you got yourself an audience. If one person shows up, you got yourself an audience. um and you can educate somebody, and then make them into a warrior, so they can go out and fight drugs and help our children. So I hope this helps. I hope this I don't I might come off a little bit preachy here to anybody out there that's a casual drug user, meaning casual. They smoke weed on the weekends, not every once in a while. Somebody said, oh yeah, I smoke weed, just to relax me or whatever. But the mental brain damage that they're doing to their bodies is really incredible, and I don't think they realize it themselves because it's been made to be so casual. And with the whole uh, legalizing, all these things that they're trying to legalize, um, it seems like, oh well, if they're making it legal, it must be okay. Alcohol is legal. It was, we had prohibition, and then it was legal and everything was fine. Nobody is. But you know how many thousands, not thousands, I should, millions and millions of people that have died due to alcohol related causes, whether it was drunk driving, whether they were killed by a drunk driver, whether they themselves had their livers collapsed, or they had some type of hepatitis or whatever you get from just drinking way too much, blood diseases and all that. Um, and so there is no such thing as cat. This is my opinion. Obviously, this is the title of this talk this morning was, can you be a casual drug user? My personal opinion is that you cannot. You cannot be a casual drug user. Now, alcohol, people go out and they drink. If you're drinking every single weekend because that is what you do, or at least every time you have a day off, that's an average of 52 weekends, right? How many drinks are you having? So that's 52, um, at least 52 days a year, right? That you're consuming alcohol. You do that for the next couple of years, and we're looking at a lot of alcohol and a lot of damage to your body. Again, I don't want to sound like and be called hypocritical if there's a photo of me drinking wine, because I do drink wine. I haven't had any wine this year. It's March. um and I think I had maybe a glass of wine last year through the whole pandemic. But I will have wine, and I will have a drink if I'm in a position or feel like I want to do that. Um, but generally, I don't really want to have that, you know what I mean? I really don't. I also don't function too well. I get a little bit cuckoo when that happens. It might be fun for some people to see that. That might be. Maybe I'll come here one morning and just get a drink. All right, let's see what happens, folks. Anyway, my wife really pisses me off, man. You know why? No, but I don't do that. All right, folks. Well, I want to thank you all for tuning in this morning. Hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day out there. Make today great. Do the things that you love and take care of yourselves. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning. And as always,